Hello friends, my name is Sapna Goyal and my channel is Sapna Goyal 1985. Through this video, we are going to study Class 6 History Lesson 7 of NCERT book, New Questions and Ideas. The chapter starts with the life of Buddha, who was the founder of Buddhism. His original name was Siddharth Gautam or Siddharth or Gautam. He was born about 2500 years ago in Lumbini in Nepal. Buddha belonged to Sakyagana. Gana is a form of government in which there are many rulers, and he was a Kshatriya. He left comforts of his home in search of knowledge. He wandered for several years, held meetings and discussions with lots of people. Then he meditated for several days under a peepal tree, and that is the place where he attained enlightenment. And he came to be known as Buddha or Wise One. At Sarnath near Varanasi, he gave his first sermon or his first religious talk, or I can say pravachan. And he spent his entire life educating people. This is the picture of Dhamik Stoop, which is at Sarnath, and he passed away at Kusinara in UP. So, here is a map showing Bodh Gaya in Bihar, where he attained enlightenment. Sarnath in UP, where he gave his first sermon, and Kusinagar in UP, where he passed away. According to Buddha, life is full of sufferings and unhappiness. We remain unhappy because we have unfulfilled desires. Our dreams are never fulfilled. When we get something in life, we want more of it. So we want a house also, we want a car also, and we want lots of other things. This dissatisfaction he described as thirst or tanha. And he also believed that this constant craving, this constant thirst for something can be overcome by following moderation in everything. Which means, अगर हम अपनी life में कुछ changes ले आए, तो हम अपनी इस प्यास को मिटा सकते हैं. And he also taught that people should be kind and respectful towards the lives of others, including animals. He also believed that whatever we do in present life affects us in present as well as in next life. That means good actions give us good results and bad actions give us bad results. He also encouraged people to think for themselves rather than following him blindly. He taught people in Prakrit language, which was the ordinary language over there, so that people can understand. Dear students, around the time when Buddha was teaching, there were people who had lots of questions about life. For example, what will happen after death? What is Atma? What is universe? What is Brahm? Etc. So many of these ideas were recorded in books called Upanishads. Upanishads were part of Vedas, and it means approaching and sitting near. Upanishads contain conversations or dialogues between teachers and students, and once a story gets over, you get some knowledge. Dear students, most of the Upanishadic thinkers were men, especially Brahmins and Rajas, but there are exceptions everywhere. For example, there was a woman thinker named Gargi. She was very famous for her learning and she even participated in debates held in royal courts. Another example is of Satyakama Jabala, who was a poor man and he was a son of a slave woman, Jabali. He wanted to learn about reality, about life, and he was accepted as a student by a Brahmin teacher named Gautam, and he became a very famous thinker of his time. Many of the Upanishadic ideas were later on developed by a famous thinker named Shankaracharya. Students, a thinker is not someone who just sits and thinks. Thinker is someone who gains knowledge about life, about reality, about universe, etc. And then they either narrate it to people orally or they produce these ideas in books. So what were those questions which the thinkers of Upanishads wanted to answer? So Upanishadic thinkers wanted to know whether there is life after death or where do we go after we die, and is there something permanent in universe? What will happen after the universe will come to an end? Is there something that will remain in this world? And they wanted to know why sacrifices should be performed. That means जो बलि चढ़ाई जाती है वो क्यों चढ़ाई जाती है? And all these ideas were recorded in Upanishads. Now let's talk about Vardhaman Mahavir. He was the founder of Jainism. Just like Buddha belonged to Sakyagan, he belonged to Vajji Sangh. Gan or Sangh means the same. So within Vajji Sangh there were many kingdoms and one of that was the kingdom of Licchavis. So he was a prince of that kingdom. At the age of 30 he left his home and went to live in a forest. For 12 years he led a lonely life and after which he attained enlightenment. That means महावीर को ज्ञान की प्राप्ति हुई. As per the teachings of Mahavir, men and women who wanted to know the truth about universe, God or life had to leave their home. Then every follower had to follow the rules of ahimsa or non-violence. That means they could not kill or hurt any human being or any animal because life is dear to everyone. Plus, the followers had to lead a simple life. That means they had to beg for food. So followers could not earn. Then they had to be honest and they could not steal. Plus, the followers had to observe celibacy. That means brahmacharya. That means they could not marry anyone. And men had to give up everything, including their clothes. Followers of Mahavir were known as Jains because they followed Jainism as their religion. You know, children, rules of Jainism were very strict. As a result, many found it difficult to join. For example, farmers. They had to kill insects to cultivate their crops, so they did not or they could not follow Jainism. Mahavir taught in Prakrit language, that was the language of common people. Prakrit spoken in different parts of India was known by different names. For example, Prakrit in Magad was known as Magadhi. Jainism spread to different parts of North India and to Gujarat, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. The teachings of Mahavir were written down by his followers and today we find them at a place called Vallabhi in Gujarat. Dear children, both Mahavir and Buddha felt that the people who want to know truth have to leave their home. And after leaving their home, they have to live in an association or a Sangh. But what were the rules of this Sangh? So the rules for Buddhist Sangh were written down in a book called Vinay Pitaka. And who could join it? All men could join Sangh. Children had to take permission from their parents, women of their husbands, slaves had to take permission from their masters, and debtors from their creditors. Dear children, men and women who joined Sangh led very simple lives. They meditated for most of the time and even went to cities and villages to beg for food, that too during fixed hours. Men were known as bhikkhus and women bhikkhunis, which meant beggar. They taught others, they helped each other, and if there were any disputes, they were settled in meetings that took place within the Sangh. Dear children, both Jain and Buddhist monks and nuns went from place to place throughout the year to teach people. Except during the rainy season, they never stayed at one place. Gradually, their supporters started building temporary shelters for them in gardens, or at times they lived in caves in hilly areas. As time went on, monasteries were built for the monks and nuns. These were permanent shelters and they came to be known as viharas. The earlier viharas were made up of wood and then of brick. Some viharas were even dug out in caves in hilly areas. Then local people even gifted the monks and nuns with food, clothing, medicines, etc. And in return, they taught the people. Dear children, around the time when Jainism and Buddhism was becoming popular, a system of ashrams was started by Brahmins. Ashrams means stages of life. So the followers of Hinduism had 4 stages in their life. The first one is Brahmacharya, wherein Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya men are expected to lead simple lives and they study Vedas and actually they live life of a student. After the studies are over, they enter Grihastha ashram, wherein they marry someone. After marriage, they bear children, and when the children grow big, parents make sure that the children are also married. After which, the parents hand over the responsibility of the household to the children, and then they enter the third stage, that is Vanprastha, wherein they have to live in forests and have to meditate. After this, when they attain knowledge or enlightenment, they enter the fourth stage of life, that is sannyas. So people become sannyasi by giving up everything. They live a totally secluded life, a life in which they try to find answers to spiritual questions. Do you know, children, there are many religions that are followed today in the world. So, like Buddha started Buddhism, Vardhaman Mahavir started Jainism, there was a prophet in Iran named Zoroaster. He started a religion called Zoroastrianism. The followers of this religion are called as Zoroasters. The left picture shows the religious symbol of Zoroasters, and right picture shows their place of worship, which is called a fire temple. Do you know Parsis, children? So Parsis follow Zoroastrianism. The teachings of this religion are written in a book called Avesta. So just like Christians have Bible, Zoroasters have Avesta. The next fact is about Jain. The word Jain comes from the term Jina, meaning conqueror. Then, children, in India we had various learned scholars. One of them was Panini. He prepared a grammar for Sanskrit. He arranged the vowels and consonants in a special order and then used them to create formulas. He used these to write down the rules of language in short formulae. So we have about 300 such formulas. Thank you so much. Do not forget to like and subscribe.